What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Shit, episode 93. My name is Barrett Courtney. I'm one of your hosts, and here joined with me are my incredible co-hosts and even better friends, the bisexist from Texas, Henry Montiero. Oh, fuck, that's Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Why would you do that to that? Why would you slam that down? And over here is my favorite chunky punk, Ricky Bowsdown. What the fuck are you guys doing?
I love that it took a second.
These aren't even mine. These are like yours. This is like yours. Like, why are you doing that?
Disrespect authority.
How are we doing today, guys?
Tired.
Yeah, I mean, you're always fucking tired.
I'm
when
always
are you
tired.
not tired? When you're sleeping?
Yeah.
Which is very little.
I
wake up and it's like time to go back to sleep.
I was up till 2 last night beating Sly 2.
Oh,
I know. I saw you. That's what you were playing.
How was that?
I got the platinum.
Oh,
Nice.
really? God damn.
Here's the thing. Every Sly Cooper game has a god-awful final boss. It's always the worst part.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's this thing that I was I have this friend online who was talking about how Sly 2 is the worst game he's ever beaten.
I mean...
And it made me think about my biggest problem with the game, which is the fact that the paraglider comes in and completely dismantles the core of the game and the platforming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's sort of like how you learn a bunch of shit and now, like, in Uncharted 2, where you learn how to play the game throughout the entire game, and the final boss fight, the way that you have to beat that boss fight
so here's the thing.
has nothing to do with the rest of that fucking game, and that's why the ending of Uncharted 2 is complete and utter bullshit.
No, it's because it's about 8. It's 8 levels long, and around level 6, I think, you get a paraglider. But here's the thing: naturally, when you're jumping and running in the game, you're gonna want to hold the run button while you do it to make sure everything goes faster.
The paraglide button is the R1 button as well.
Yeah,
That sucks.
so every time you jump around and do the double jump
around.
it activates. You start gliding.
Get up,
and
get
when you're
down.
gliding, you
Jump
can't use the
around.
button that immediately attracts you to one of the lines.
That
Do you know what,
sounds so
what I'm
awful.
referencing here? Jump around.
House of Pain.
Jump.
No, it's My Name is Earl. We're
No, in fact, it's House of Pain.
well, no, we're Catalina. She like does she's like a stripper. But
Oh,
she does,
yeah,
like, the
she's
jumping
that's
and
her
it's-
thing.
And she like she does it to that song.
Oh God.
Sorry, what were you talking about?
About how the paraglider in Sly 2 completely ruins the game.
How it dismantles the gameplay and how I just dismantled your conversation. I'm sorry, I missed you. No.
That
what
does sound super irritating though.
What have you been up to this week?
Work.
Work.
Working 9 to 5.
Yeah, I've just been working, trying to get some video game time in.
Yep.
Watching Goldberg's and X-Files.
Yeah, I started watching X-Files for the first time in a very long time last night. It's like, god damn, this show's so fucking good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
There's
Such a good show.
this guy has this file that he put online of screenshots of the X-Files, but it's just times when they accidentally do dance poses.
That sounds good. But yeah, I haven't been up to much. I've just been working and then
Jerking it.
setting up for more work next week and it's
Jerking
just
Just
jerking
whacking and smacking it and whacking that meat.
chopping that meat.
Yeah, you're like setting up for festivals next week or whatnot.
Yeah, just getting everything ready, dog sitting, getting ready for dog sitting tomorrow
Ooh.
as well.
Not the regular dog.
Yeah, the regular one.
Oh, the regular.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
The 2 pit bulls.
Okay.
And that's kind of it. I've had a really, really fucking boring week.
Yeah.
I tried to hang out with him yesterday, but I was so busy. And then while I was outside running errands, my phone dies. I get to the house like hours later, plug in my phone, and then the first thing that pops up is, "Okay, I'm on my way. All right, I'm outside."
Oh, I'm so sorry.
A half hour later, "You there?" I was like,
Oh, you're the worst friend.
"I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry."
Now this is the episode where Henry is allowed to beat up Ricky for about a half hour.
That's my topic.
So my week it's been pretty all right. I beat Ratchet and Clank. I loved that ending. No, I know I'm not going to ruin anything
Keep it
because
down,
I believe
please.
because I started reading up on like the older Ratchet and Clank games, and that ending is very different from what the original Ratchet and Clank is, because the main villain isn't even in the first one primarily, is he?
Dr. Nefarious?
Yeah.
No, he comes in at the third one.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And he's the best villain they ever had.
And that's why I'm sort of excited that like Ratchet and Clank is like the Star Wars Episode 7 of Ratchet and Clank, because it's bringing in all of these like old like tropes and stuff to like bring in new people and to like bring back the old fans. And so now they've got to do a sequel at this point because the game is so successful. Who knows if the movie is any good? I've heard not so great things about the movie.
Tomorrow.
Comes out tonight, technically.
Not unlike...
I sent you a text message because someone had sent me a link of like, hey, there's like a free screening of Ratchet and Clank going on tomorrow, and I had to open at work, so I texted you, be like, hey, here's this thing that you can sign up for, and you didn't do it, I'm guessing.
No, I was busy on Saturday.
Okay. You were the first person I thought of because you love Ratchet and Clank.
It's not getting as good reviews as the movie that has 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, Barbershop: The Next Cut.
Is that really at 92%?
92?
Jesus Christ.
Ice Cube's best movie yet.
Jesus. You see every review, it's just Rasan. This movie is great.
All of it is like that one uncle you have that goes to see every Fast and the Furious movie, and he's like,
Renee?
this is great. Yeah.
And then I went to a Giants game the other night. That was pretty fun. We won. It was a very it was a slow paced game. The final score ended up being like 1-0. So
what is the soccer?
Yeah, I went to the Friday night Marlins Giants game.
Yeah, we went Tuesday.
I was really fucked up.
Yeah.
It was so fucked up.
I went on the Sunday game.
Wow, we all went at different. Why don't we ever coordinate together? Like, hey, let's go do things together.
I have no idea.
And then also, Alyssa and I got our Captain America Civil War tickets for Kabuki Theater for 7:00. Very excited. Expect our review. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm guessing our review will be up sometime this coming Friday. So check that out. It'll be fun, I'm sure.
It's gonna be great.
Alyssa is really
Hopefully.
excited. So
If it's half as good as Batman v Superman,
it'll be
awful.
dirt crap.
Hey, don't disrespect dirt.
What was I going to say? And then the last thing for my week, I wrote a yesterday was a sad day for Batman fans. It was the last issue of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run of the New 52 Batman. They had their
I think you mean it was a sad day for Batman fans because Prince is dead and we'll never have Bat Dance again.
So I wrote an open letter thing of a bunch of just like I don't know. I don't know if I'm really proud of the piece I wrote because after I read it over, I was like, I don't know where I was really going with it.
It actually had like nothing to do with Batman. You never mentioned Batman once.
He was actually talking about how good macaroni and cheese is when you put a little salt on it.
And he thought that like it was Scott Snyder's fault.
But I wrote like my thoughts and feelings on like their entire run and how like they sort of like I love Batman. Batman's like my favorite fictional character of all time. And
No way. No fucking way.
Whoa.
No way.
And so, but I talk about like how I never really had like my Batman. Like everybody has like their version of Batman. Like so like. When they think of Batman, they're like, "Oh, I think of Batman from Hush or something." You know, I never had that. Like, I had my favorite Batman stories, but I never had my Batman.
I think Bat Shark Repellent.
And I think I think they showed me who like what my Batman was,
yeah,
and
definitely.
I talked about like how like I can never thank them like enough for doing that. And someone I won't say on the show, someone DM'd me and said like, "Hey, that's awesome, thanks."
It was like Henry.
Henry was like, "Hey, thanks,
Good job, bro."
and that made my day. And then the last thing that happened.
I can't
this
believe
week,
Obama DM'd you to go great job.
The last thing that happened to me this week is actually the first topic. Boom, Gregway.
Wow. Wow.
I'm gonna throw your phone through the window.
So This was yesterday. A song leaked by Blink-182
By Anthrax.
And it's called "I'm the Man" Part 2.
Blink-182 released a new single called "Bored to Death," and they
Just like I am with Blink-182.
Oh, damn.
They announced that their new album California will be out July 1st. and they will be touring and starting later in July. And so today I wanted it actually fit perfectly well because I thought of this topic like earlier this week, and then all of this came up. I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. Is I sort of just want to talk about Blink-182 because we've talked about like pop punk before and like if pop punk is dead or not, and we talked about them a little bit on that episode. But like what is your sort of relationship with Blink-182 and like how do you feel about them? Because obviously I grew up as the like Blink-182 fucking fanatic. They were like one of the first bands I got into that wasn't. The fuck is that noise? No, it's okay. I'm just like scared. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Keep it down.
Shut your wife up.
They're like the first band that I got myself into that wasn't like relayed on to me by my parents, you know. So they like how like they also raised me in a way because their music for an angsty kid in the Midwest, like their music was perfect for me. I see Henry's just like judging me, just like, oh
no, I had a nightmare we were gonna have this topic last night.
Why was it a nightmare?
Because this is awful.
You suck. So I don't know, like Blink-182 is like in the last couple of years they have definitely fallen off of like I don't listen to them as often. Like I used to listen to them all the fucking time from ages Jesus
14 to 15.
From ages like 8 to like 18 for like 10 years straight. They're like this band that I constantly listened to. And like that was like the first thing I was like super fanboy of like I knew like I'm not even talking about like all the songs I know, but like the fucking like I hate forums. I don't understand them. I really love Kind of Funny. I try to go on the Kind of Funny forums every once in a while, but it's still like the sort of format of the internet that I'm still not like.
I don't like forums unless something weird happens with my PS3, and I'm like, who the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck do I even do about that?
I understand forums completely.
I know you love your rock band forum,
Shut
you
the
fucking
fuck up.
nerd. but Blink-182, Blink-182. There was a Blink-182 forum at blinkdisasters.com. And
I already hate everything about
I was like, this sounds so irritating.
Everyone shared their DeviantArt fanfic about how them and Tom were going to end up one day, and they all drew pictures of Tom and their original character, Do Not Steal, and somehow they were all Sonic characters.
It wasn't like that at all. It was more like it was during like the breakup, so we are all speculating on like, oh, do we think they'll ever get back, and like what would we want to see in like their future and whatnot. This was way like
forums are so weird. Forums weird.
So it was, and that was like the one thing, and I remember like laughing even like as a middle school kid. There was someone trying to make like their home like movie, but like the whole soundtrack was like Blink-182 covers. It was like a Blink-182 musical, and even in middle school I was watching this. I was like, this is really fucking lame.
The cover of Damn It with the MIDI keyboard.
Well, no, I just remember all they did was post a trailer where it was like it was a song. It was the song where Tom wrote about like how he got drunk at a high school basketball game. He got expelled from high school. And like they like did a cover of that song, and it's all sappy and like sad and shit. I'm like, that's not what this song is. What the fuck? And I just so Blink-182 is obviously like
at the end made by Joanna Newsom.
And like hardcore Blink-182 fans will know like the Blink-umentary was supposed to be the documentary of like about them getting back together and like the recording of Neighborhoods. And like it's like an ongoing joke because it never came out.
You can't just put words with other words and expect it to be another word.
So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Blink-182? Because you can't fucking hate on them. You can't.
I think a lot of people can. I can't though because I've listened to them before and I was super into them at one point. I don't know. They were like people always like Blink fans always talk about Blink-182 as like the band for the genre because I mean they kind of are, but for me at least they were kind of like the bridge band to lead to other bands.
Yeah.
Like I was into them, but I wasn't like hella into them. Like they weren't my favorite band or anything. They just more helped me get into like other bands that then I got really into. Like I started listening to Blink, and then
My Chemical Romance.
yeah, and then that led to My Chemical Romance, and then
Which is a very weird thing to think about because it's like
two completely different sides of the genre.
Because a lot of people mainly think of Blink-182 as just their self-titled album of like that's who they are as a band.
Yeah.
But like you and I, like on the way here, we were listening to Dude Ranch, and I was like, just listening to that album of like the weird like segments sometimes in between songs where like they're making out with like a horse, or like Mark is like about to take off his pants and like this girl starts freaking out. He's like, "No, it's okay. The doctor said it's like not contagious. It'll be fine in a couple of days or whatever."
Yeah.
I really wanted him to say he takes off his pants and jacket.
And then there's like the one at the end of one of the albums. I forget which one, where this dog, you hear this dog drinking water, and Mark's like, hold on. He's like starts peeing. He's like, oh yeah. And then he has like the dog drink like his pee or something.
Yeah.
How much do you bet every single member of Blink-182 has done the peanut butter on the crotch thing?
To each other.
I just remember like how silly they were,
sandwich.
and that's the weird thing about like modern pop punk today is
Modern pomp.
they try to be like silly, but I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think it comes from a genuine place. I think they try to do it to capture what Blink did, but I think like you guys, like I can understand if like that stuff wasn't your thing, but they did it because that was sort of their shtick, and like no one else was doing that at the time, and it feels like it was sort of disingenuous when like other bands try to do it today because they're obviously like super big Blink-182 fans.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I don't know.
I think that also goes with like their sort of humor and immaturity at the time goes with like who was listening, like the age group that was listening to it. Like that's easier for like the age group to notice that, and not to say that like all like kids at that age are like completely immature and like have the same type of humor like that, but it's easier for them to grasp and to get attracted to this band if they be themselves and show like,
and
what
it's
kind of
not even like
stupidity
the
jokes that they
live
make.
shit that they do, or they're just like back and forth, like making fun of each other, but just like they have a song like Enema of the State is like the song about like aliens and
Aliens exist.
and like even like on Dude Ranch, it's the A New Hope, where it's just some Mark singing a love song to Princess Leia, which is fucking hilarious, and then Tom DeLonge, the song Voyeur, which is about him like jerking off in a tree. Like no one, like pop punk bands today, like will sometimes try to have jokes like interweaved into songs that are like mainly about like missing girls or fucking whatever.
I think with most bands now, it just comes out in, hey, let's make our song titles wacky.
Yeah.
Let's make our song title, and that's the fault of Fall Out Boy, actually. Let's make our song titles like fucking wacky and have nothing to do and have nothing to do with the rest of the fucking song itself, you know.
I call it a day to remember syndrome.
Yeah.
But again, Fall Out Boy started it.
But see, the difference is that with Fall Out Boy, they had enough like clever like turns of phrases in their songs to like justify like song titles like that. Every day to remember song is just I hate my ex-girlfriend. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then they named their songs like Night at the Museum references.
I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made of? Huh? What?
NJ Legion, Long Island Iced Tea.
Yeah. It's just weird shit like that. But I do think that like the way that Blink went about doing shit was good for the age group. I remember like the after period of them bridging me to like My Chemical Romance and like Green Day and shit, which led me to like
bands real men listen to,
like Rancid and then Op Ivy and then all these other bands.
And then the greatest punk band of all time, Weezer.
I mean, Blink-182 was the best like gateway into because it was like it was, especially Enema of the State, it was a bridge of like super pop that was catchy and fun and sort of like that punk attitude, and then you get a little bit of that integrated, and then you start opening your mind to like, oh, like this is oh, here are all these actual like punk bands and shit.
It's like how everyone our age got into metal after listening to like Linkin Park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Except none of them will admit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all of them will be like, no, I like real metal, like Metallica and shit.
It's
And
like,
then
no,
it's
bitch,
like,
you had Hybrid Theory at your house in the
you didn't
in
just
the
have Hybrid Theory, you had Meteora, the deluxe edition.
But yeah, I remember after this period of them like bridging me to all these other bands, it was a weird period of time where the only period of time where like if anybody said anything about
Blah, 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 blah.
about Blink-182, like they would get shit for it because we were all kind of in that same stage of being in this genre and holding a big amount of respect for these guys because it was that time period where it's like you look at the whole genre and it's kind of like this is because of them.
Yeah,
Like they
definitely.
helped set the genre to where it is, and they kind of it's just nice to see like this whole like movement, even if a lot of people don't like it, even if it sucks right now, and kind of like realizing like this really came from these guys and what they made, and it's just kind of nice to see that kind of shit.
Yeah, the like pop punk was definitely in its height, like early 2000s. And it's sort of weird, like I was saying earlier, of like a lot of people when they think of Blink, they think of Self-Titled, and that's like the most like least pop punk sort of album that they have.
Yeah.
It's like their little sort of like tiptoe over to emo, very very subtly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to talk about right now. I guess the next thing I would say is what are your guys like favorite Blink albums?
Henry's just like
I listen to good music.
I mean, go fuck yourself though. Like you say, Fat Lip is like the best song of all time
Because it is.
But you know what? I could name like fucking 10 songs that are better than any Sum 41 song.
Sum 41 is where 4 Years Strong came from. Really listen to it and recognize it.
Of course, I think their Self-Titled is the best that they got.
Yeah.
Is like where their utmost maturity came out of their. It's a completely real album, and I think the most genuine like you can get out of the genre, I guess.
And I think it's funny, like the guys from Kind of Funny always make fun of Blink-182 because they'll do like the I'm feeling it, and they talk about like how they. I remember Tim telling the story of like, his roommate was playing Feeling This, and Tim was like, "Were you playing Blink-182?" And his roommate was like, "Yeah." Like on purpose. But you know what? Like Self-Titled is a really, really good album because it does tell sort of this story of this really bad relationship, like slowly turning sour. And it's not a coincidence that they broke up like soon after that album.
Yeah.
So when you can tell like an overarching story in an album, I think you do have some sort of talent. And a lot of people can shit on Blink-182, but I think Self-Titled is a really, really good album. But I think the stigmatization against Feeling This is because it was it's much like Green Day's American Idiot, where like people are like, "Oh, that's such a great album," but that first track is so fucking overplayed, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I think I less like thank Blink-182 for their music directly. I more thank them for like what they helped me found. Even if like it didn't last long or if I don't listen to it anymore, it was like a good run. Like My Chemical Romance, like Black Parade itself is like the soundtrack to like my high school years. And
I really want to see you in like the band leader outfit. But you still have like the red beanie you used to wear.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking awesome.
And then 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge being like my middle school years and stuff. And then like later on getting Wonder Years from you, but still being in the same genre. Like I don't listen to Wonder Years that much anymore, but it's like it was a good run and it was fun listening to them for the time, no matter how depressing it got.
Yeah. But I like Blink is sort of this weird thing of like I was really into them when they were gone.
Yeah.
And when they came back, it was this weird thing of, you know, they had all done like their separate projects, and I think Plus 44 was honestly like the closest thing to like what Blink would have turned into after Self-Titled if they had stayed together.
Which luckily that's what their new album is.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the new song soon, but it was this weird thing when they came back in 2009 and they didn't come out with an album for like another fucking 2 years, and Neighborhoods came out, and I was actually listening to Neighborhoods earlier this week, and I was like, this album isn't as bad as I remember it being, because there's like one or two tracks where I'm like, all right, this is not great, like at all, like whatsoever. But the rest of the album is like, it's good. It's just not Blink 182. It's just like this muddled fucking like Tom really wants to do this, and it's like a really weird disconnect. It reminded me of just like it's dad music, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
which is a very weird thing to say about Blink 182. Like, it's turning into dad music.
Yeah, but like not just Blink 182, but I think like with a lot of bands in general, to kind of make a connection to another thing that I've been watching a lot lately is Rebel Taxi, thanks to Henry, who's this guy who reviews like animated stuff, and he made a good point where it's just where I'm seeing with Blink 182, now that we're talking about him, it's like with an animated show, like you can either end it while you can and have people talk about how they want it back and how it used to be so good, or and how badly they want it to air again, or you can drag it on as much as you can and have people wish it would end and talk about how good it used to be.
Or if you were part of a shitty forum in 2008 and had a signature, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
So I think, and like Neighborhoods was very like not Blink. It didn't really have like the energy to it. It felt like very like one note the entire time. And
To
the
me,
dogs.
The problem with that whole album, Neighborhoods, is that it really didn't feel like Mark or Travis wanted to be there at all. It was like Tom was like, hey, let's bring back Blink 182. And they were like, yeah, sure. Hey, mind if I bring these songs? Yeah, sure. They're Angels and Airwaves rejects.
Yeah, and that's
but Angels and Airwaves blow.
You know what? No. I'll stick up for Angels and Airwaves. Those first two albums.
I think the first
and
album.
Love was okay. Love was okay. There was a good like couple hits on that.
Every Angels and Airwaves song is about how Tom wants to have sex with aliens.
But Dogs Eating, and that's the thing about
it hurts.
I really like Dogs Eating Dogs.
Yeah, so Neighborhoods was weird because they all recorded at different studios. So of course that's going to be like really weird and muddled because there's no energy because they're not all together. Dogs Eating Dogs they were finally together recording shit together. Yeah. And that was when that came out, I was like, oh fuck, like they're going in a better direction than what Neighborhoods was. And I listened to that like right after Neighborhoods. I was like, oh wow, like I forgot like how much I liked these songs.
Like, I really liked that just as much as like old Blink.
I really liked that last song that's on it, but then it like fucking goes into that rap verse from like Travis Barker's Friends. I'm like, why? What?
It's all secretly Lady Cobra every time.
And then this new single came out, Bored to Death, and it didn't stick out to me that much. It didn't get me like, holy shit, this is amazing. Because actually, like, I really love Up All Night. I really love that song. And when that song like first played, and like this was back when I was living in Alameda, and we had like a fucking like sound, like the surround sound like throughout the entire house. Like I hooked up my computer, plugged that in, and like had it listening. Like the first time I listened to Up All Night was through those big ass speakers, and I was like blown away. I was like, holy shit, like this isn't like really Blink, but it's like I still really like, dig it, you know? And this, it wasn't like, holy shit, but it did give me excited for the new album, because like I think I was saying this on Facebook, like if this song is like the peak of the album, like then the rest of the album is just gonna be like, all right, whatever, okay. It'll probably be like very one note. But if this is just a tease of what's to come next, I am actually really excited. Did you listen to the song? No.
he was like, nah, dude. I listened to the first one, and then I just heard the little clip one outside.
They were on Kevin and Bean this morning, and they premiered one of their songs on the record. It's only like 20 seconds long, and it's about how Mark made a pool to see naked dudes. I was like, oh, that's like, I was not expecting that to like be sang, and when I was like, oh my god, that like sort of like fucking weird jokes like that are gonna be on the new Blink like album. I'm like, all right. And the cool thing about it, like when I was listening to it, I was like, this doesn't feel forced or anything. This doesn't feel like, oh hey, we're trying to do the same shit we did 15 years ago. I was like, oh, this is just, it's still Mark, you know?
Yeah.
But what'd you think about Bored to Death?
Thought it was fine. I mean, it just sounded like Blink to me. It wasn't like it didn't blow me away.
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed in it. I kind of like I kind of didn't give a fuck about it, but but again, it's just like Blink was a big part of my life
Yeah.
at one point, so it's just like I kind of want to see how they're doing and stuff. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
I'm excited.
Whatever.
If it's just a tease of what's to come for that album, I'm really really excited. It doesn't remind me of early Blink, and I'm sort of glad because a lot of people are like, oh man, I really wish like Blink 182 was how they were in fucking early 2000s and the late 90s.
They're 20 years older.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
20. They're not going to be fucking and like the sort of the music that you listen to in like Dude Ranch and Cheshire Cat. Like people want that, but it's like I understand when you're 20 years old, you like that's the music you want to do. But when you're a musician, when you're an artist, I know they're like sort of like the end of all jokes when it comes to the music industry, but they are still like artists in a way, and they sort of want to grow, and all artists want to grow,
Yeah.
you know. So I think it's ridiculous to ask that, but it did like when I listened to it, I was like, this doesn't remind me of old Blink, but this makes me think of what Blink probably would have been if they stayed together after self-titled and released new music, and that's what like got me really excited.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird like mixture of Plus 44, which like I said earlier is very much probably the direction Blink would have gone into, and like Alkaline, like bits of Alkaline Trio, which was like got me really excited because I really liked Alkaline Trio like back in like middle school and stuff, and
Got into him for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
And then you realize that pretty much all the bands from that scene pretty much sound the same.
yeah,
like it was like again like the people who really realize the differences in the songs and where they are now are like the bigger fans like you and stuff like them. But like for me, it's like Blink coming out with a new album now is kind of like AC/DC coming out with a new album. Where you're just like
You
What?
liked the last AC/DC album.
I did, but that I like AC/DC more. But I'm saying like from your standpoint, where like you don't like AC/DC, so do you like another AC/DC album is like fucking whatever.
yeah.
It's just like they've been doing it for so long, like okay, whatever. It's kind of like that for Blink at this point, where it's just like it's been so long that it's just kind of like, oh, cool,
Whatever.
like
I'm
whatever.
excited. I'm really hopeful, and like the two songs that we've heard so far, like I think this will be a good summer album of just like fucking just listening to it and just having fun over the summer, even though
It's new shit
we
to
don't-
listen to, so
yeah.
I'm excited. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
so yeah, Blink 182. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
You're still just
You
like,
really don't like this band,
This nightmare was too accurate.
but like he loves Sum 41 for some fucking reason.
Some 41 makes better songs.
bum 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 ba-dum, ba-dum. Hey,
Do you want to
Peter.
listen to Screaming Bloody Murder and
Hey, Peter.
Screaming Bloody Murder and tell me that?
You want to listen to, I can't think
Hey,
of any
Peter.
album as bad as Screaming Bloody Murder. I like All Killer, No Filler, and Chuck, okay?
Those are good albums.
I love Chuck.